Hey everybody. Happy holidays, Hanukkah, happy all the things. Happy all the things. As I spoke to in my post, I am been feeling into like what would I like to contribute to you over the holiday season and what do I think would be of most service. And many of you know I have a money program coming up and I want to shed some light on that. It starts December 29th. And I also wanted to just share some awareness and information that I've been using over the years to change my money story and to change my relationship with money. And I wanted to offer some notes to you here um, in hopes that it will really help bring some space. This is a time of year that I think that people's money issues get exaggerated, right? I don't know how many of you know who Ken Honda is, but he wrote a book called Happy Money, and he talks about different money types, right? There's the savers, and that, I mean, this time of year is really triggering the savers, and then there's the money makers, and then there's the people who make a lot of money so they could spend a lot of money, but whatever the way that you do money during a time of year like this is going to be exaggerated, in part because of the culture, but also in part because we're sensitive beings. We can feel everybody contracting out there around finances and with all of the hullabaloo. Hello, Lotta. Penny, hello. I'm so glad to see you. If you're also, guys, if you're on here, I'd love for you to say hi because unless you say hi, then you're a lurker and I can't even see you. Nicole, hello, Nicole. How are you? Oh, so good to see you. Um, so we tend to feel the contraction and the restriction of what's happening all around us. Like, there's been so many times, like, even for me this year, where I've been like, ah! And I was like, is this mine? Oh, nope. And then some people actually start contracting like even months before the holidays in anticipation of the holidays, and the what I'm going to be really helping people with in my Becoming a Money Whisper program is to help you to see outside of everybody's interesting points of view about money and how it should happen and how it's made is there is a reality that we all have individually in the space of our infinite self. There's a truth that we have and are with money. And one of the things we're going to be doing in that program is really shedding the lies. And most programs actually only look at beliefs, and that's only part of the issue. Like, there's a lot of us that if we've been doing good work, right? We've been on this conscious journey and we know that we're creating our lives and that our beliefs are manifest out there. So if we're having trouble with any area, be it relationship or be it money, that we're going to be good conscious people and work those beliefs, right? And they are important. But here's the dealio. This is the big reveal here, right? Is that how much belief work have you done? Just notice yourself, and how much change has that created and generated? Now, I had an experience when I was very first starting my rapid eye practice where I changed a belief, and holy cow, like the whole world opened up. So I'm not saying anything that's not good work to do. But what I'm saying is there's essentially some other things, and that is um, if you could cognize what was in the way of money, you probably would have done it by now because you're very smart people, right? You probably would have done that. Most of what's running our money stories is actually established before we had words and as we picked up the energies of the people around us, their energy with money. And so what happened was is we picked up energetic signatures of what money is. And in doing that, as a little kid, you don't have any filters yet. So you think it's yours. And so part of what we're going to be doing in this program is going way below the surface of your cognitive mind and anything you could even really speak to and go, I have a belief that I'm not enough, right? But before you had the thought, I'm not enough, you had years of energy entrainment into a way of being that's way beyond that phrase, that's way deeper than that phrase. And so in this program, and some of you listening are in that program, so yay. For those of you listening that have not, don't know about it or haven't signed up for it yet, this this may be speaking to you, right? Of like where we're going to go is we're going to go down to the bottom, the the deepest part, the energetic pieces and parts that were formed before we ever had words. So as you can see, the belief work can only go so far because it can go back to where we had language, right? To where we started having these thoughts of I'm not enough or I'm not worthy or what have you. And it can go below and clear the energy that became those words, that became those beliefs. Because even if you do all the belief work, if you don't actually clear the energetic signature that you're carrying with money, then you will continue to attract very similar money experiences. Because for where are my frequency people out there that really get that, everything's about frequency. We attract what's at our frequency. It's not so much we attract what we are thinking. And that's like kind of I think, a misinterpretation that a lot of us got from the law of attraction movement. We do attract what we're thinking as far as the thinking impacts our frequency. But actually what we're attracting is if you are like in a really good space and your frequency is high and you have a crappy thought, do you notice how it can't really sustain or it can't stay because that frequency is too high for it? And you can have crappy thoughts and they move through and you're still attracting really, really amazing things because it's frequency, it's energy, it's like attracts like. And so in the program, we're going to be actually going below construct and into the energetic frequency that you're putting out as your signal around money. And really, once you get underneath that, then we can look at, okay, wow, like what's who am I really with money? What's my reality with money? And then over the 21 days, we're going to be looking at helping you essentially rebond, right? Because we all got separation anxiety with money. A lot of you have done relational work and you're playing with the attachment styles and stuff like that. Are you anxiously attached? Are you avoidant attached? Are you chaos attached? And, where's that coming from? And what would it take to create a connection with money that facilitated just an ease and a joy and just a knowing that whatever was happening and whatever the number said in your bank account. By the way, this program isn't about get rich and it isn't about, okay, once I get a certain amount of money, then I'm safe. It's like you actually have to feel at peace with money and know about your relationship with money wherever the number is at. And it's kind of like, I'm going to use this attachment conversation because it's been a very popular conversation in my world lately. For those of you who don't know, there's latest work in bonding is talking about attachment styles and how that plays out. And if anxious attached is like, is it going to come? Is it going to come? Is that person coming back? Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Avoidant is like, meh, I'm fine. I don't need to look at my accounts. Everything's great. And then me, who kind of vacillates back and forth between that. But, the connection that we can create when we go through those fears and we come into the truth of the relationship, of knowing that no matter what, we're always okay, that knowing that that regardless of the number in the account, as this isn't about the number in the account, okay? I'm going to be doing a program later this year about that, but this is really about the core of the knowing that you're deeply, deeply okay and taken care of, and it's okay. And a lot of the fears that you have about money actually aren't yours. And we're going to help you get out of the fray of other people's guck, including your families, and come into what's your truth? What's your space? What's your reality with regards to money? Ha ha ha. How fun is that? Hi, Sarah. I don't want the people I was raised around's money energy signature. Hi, Kason. Oh my God, you guys are so cute. Yes, no, we don't want that. Which is why I'm doing this program. Because, again, we can do all the work. Like, okay, I'm going to be positive about money and I'm going to get through my beliefs about money. But you're still carrying an energy signature, And I don't know if this is true for everybody, but I can tell when people are carrying a signature that's like, I would say more poverty consciousness, right? You can feel it, right? You can feel there's a lack of value of themselves, a lack of value that they have for who they are and for the deservingness of abundance, right? And it's an interesting thing because like no matter how much work you do, you can change a lot. And I have changed a lot by doing the work, by clearing the beliefs, by all of that. You can change a lot, but essentially like looking at what your signature is. Now, the thing is that some people's signature is like they grew up in money, but then money was used in this really negative way. Money was used to control, or there's a lot of us, by the way, this isn't really talked about very much out there, but there are a lot of us that have experienced financial abuse. That's when somebody threatens you, like, well, I'm not going to give you your allowance this week unless you blah, 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 blah. So there's like this sort of blackmail that goes on, or like it's very clear who controls the purse strings. So I will control you if I control the purse strings. Some people have experienced it in relationship where they get shamed for spending. There's financial abuse is in a whole spectrum, but when we have been abused financially, that then becomes our signature with money. And so we don't want anything to do with it, right? Because it feels like abuse. So we end up shutting it out unconsciously. So as you can see, there's a lot of elements here that connect to what's going on with money. Because at the end of the day, our state of being creates our results, right? And we can do a lot to raise our state of being, right? But it's kind of like the metaphor I would give you is that, it's like you have this backpack when you're born and people are putting rocks in it. Like, you should do this, you should be this. Hey, we can't afford that. Blah, 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 right? And over time, like, you can get a new perspective. You can even get a new backpack, right? Or you can have no backpack, but if you don't clear what's in that original black backpack, if you don't move the energy and shift the energy of what's in that, it impacts the signature and the frequency that you're putting out into the world, you know? And so, I named this, dude, where are my golden eggs? I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to be coming in and having little conversations like this over this week, over this. I am playing with the 6 days of Christmas, from the 12th days, right? Six geese a laying, right? And then I thought, well, I don't know why I chose six. I just did. It just felt fun to me. And the golden eggs, and I decided the six geese a laying, I've decided that they were laying golden eggs, right? And I named this like, dude, where are my eggs? And the reason I named it that is because when you're carrying these signatures, it impacts where you're looking. So if you have some of these signatures of there's not many possibilities, and there's not much out there, and life is hard, and it's hard to make money, and all of that stuff, then it impacts where you look from. And so it's like, I used to say it like this, back in the old days. Some of you might remember from Johnny Carson, his cohort Ed McMahon would come, and there was these big sweepstakes, and he would come with $1 million checks on people's doorstep. And I was like, unless you're attuned, unless you've shifted your ability to see, right, what's available and what the possibilities are, and then Ed McMahon could come to your door with $1 million check, and you'd slam the door on him thinking he was an intruder because of the way you look and where you look from. So what's true, and I love this image. Years ago, I did a program called Imprinting for Witches, and I interviewed happy millionaires, and I specifically looked for happy millionaires. And Lori Phoebus said it this way in my interview with her, and she said, she said, if you think about all the transactions that are happening right now in the ethers, over the airwaves, right? She said, all you have to do is reach your hand like that, and your hand is in the middle of trillions and trillions of dollars being moved around the world, right? Just right here, right? But if your viewfinder says life is hard, and there's not much opportunity, and it's hard to make money, and the economy, like that's a doozy. Like I would really, like, it's an interesting thing, all this sort of fear coming into an economy that isn't even here yet. And it's like, what are we creating with that, right? What do you want? And that's why it's so powerful, you guys, to figure out what your economy is. What's your personal economy? When you know what that is, you do not have to compare to the external economy. I have helped people create absolute miracles in the worst economic times. Like, I worked with realtors during 2008 and 2009 who succeeded unbelievably where other people used that as an excuse of why they went out of business. It's really, where are you looking? Where are you looking from? And it's not just like having a strong mental attitude and being able to look in the right places. It's like, you got to understand what is influencing you. Do you ever notice those people that they go from one bad deal to another, right? No matter what, it's like they think they're getting into something that's going to be very successful, and deal after deal after deal goes south. And it's because of that energy signature, those beliefs that are shining themselves in a particular direction that makes something that actually isn't a golden egg, that's a big lump of coal, look like a golden egg. So we're out there chasing golden eggs, but we're chasing it through these really muddy filters, right? And so we keep grabbing these pieces of coal that they basically reinforce the belief of, and that original energy signature over and over. And then there's other people who's like, they just go from one golden egg to the other. How does that happen? Well, it has to do with their ability to, and that signature of that knowing of the flow and the truth of abundance. And so they're actually believing the golden eggs. And so they're, by the law of attraction, they're being brought to those golden eggs, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to look a couple comments here and probably wrap up for today. Megan the Magician, oh, you guys are amazing. Thank you. I love that you're all here. Yay, 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 yay. So for the next, today is day one, so for the next 5 days at 11:30 a.m., I'm going to come in for about 20 minutes and I'm going to share just a little bit of insight about becoming a money whisperer, about being in harmony with abundance and prosperity and, of course, cash, and how to develop that bigger relationship. And I'll be posting the link to my program in every time. There's still holiday pricing right now, up until Christmas time. It's only $144. Full price is $247. And I hope to, even if you don't join my program, I really hope you take these little tidbits and apply them to your life and see what can open up for you, because I absolutely believe that we are all abundant, prosperous. That is the truth of the universe. And when we don't allow it, we're literally going against the universe. We're literally like twisting the energy so that the truth of the universe can't actually come in. That's so silly, right? So, I feel really passionate about the energy of money because I believe that it's here to change realities. I believe that is the truth of money. And we've made up a lot of lies about money, and I'd like to disseminate, not disseminate, probably undo those, right? There's a D word, destroy. Let's use destroy. It's a strong word, isn't it? Destroy the lies and support each of us in coming to the truth and using the money and the abundance to create the change that we're capable of creating, and using that resource to spread the good news that we are abundant, that we can all have and create more than enough. And so I hope this message was helpful for you today. And thank you for listening. Thank you for popping in. And I will see you here tomorrow, same time, same bat station.